welcome to the Well Body Podcast with me, Samantha Hale. This episode is brought to you by my free Well in 10 book. It's available via my website, thewellbody.co.uk, and it includes 3 guided wellness rituals to align mind, body and soul. There's even a roadmap for you to create your own wellness ritual. So to get yours, all you need to do is head on over to the website, click subscribe, and it will end up in your inbox straight away. On Monday, I invited you to answer this question. In what ways have I received from others recently? How does this make me feel? I would love to know if this resonated with you. Come and join me over on Instagram or on Facebook and let me know if this brought up any feelings or emotions for you. Today we're looking at how we might be able to apply Astheya to real life situations, and I wanted to share with you a story of a person who was the hardest working person that they knew. Each morning they would wake up, they'd check their emails before they even got out of bed. Okay, their eyes had barely adjusted to the natural light before they were hit with that high energy visible light from their mobile phone. The mornings went by in a bit of a haze, okay? So breakfast was always eaten whilst browsing through social media feeds, reading the latest news articles, just keeping up with general kind of daily stuff. This person worked in a city, so the daily commute meant plenty of time to catch up with emails and get drafts prepped to be sent as soon as they could connect back up to Wi-Fi again. This person worked really long days, well over their contracted hours, but this was kind of the norm, and everyone in the office did this. It was almost expected, and if someone left on time, they were kind of judged and frowned upon almost. Lunch was consumed at the desk as well, so they're working through their lunch, getting more of that high energy visible light affecting their eyesight, affecting their skin, and it caused a strain on their eyes. We know this, right? So usually by the time this person got home for the night, there were headaches, they would feel exhausted, they'd feel too tired to cook. So usually their evening meals were a takeaway or a healthy ready meal that could be just literally thrown in the microwave. They barely had time to shower before they would literally fall into bed, and thus the process would begin again the next day. It was like Groundhog Day. There was no time for workouts of any kind. Instead of taking the time to relax on the weekend, this person would be out with friends, socialising in an effort to escape and release their stresses and strains from the week before. However, that's like just putting a plaster on a cut and expecting it to just heal. It's not addressing the root cause of the problem. And eventually this person suffered burnout. They were burning the candle at both ends. Exhaustion, burnout, just complete. Their body needed to stop. They ended up having to take time off work. They were forced to take time off work. They needed a minimum of 6 months to fully recover. And during that time, they realized that not only were they completely overworked, with basically no work-life balance, but their mindset had become so distorted that they actually believed that lifestyle was sustainable long-term. During their 6 months off, they realized they'd been given a huge wake-up call. They were not only suffering with high stress, but in their hindsight, they realized and identified moments of anxiety as well. And they knew things had to change because they clearly couldn't carry on in that weird, distorted set of normality. They'd come to realize that they'd been giving too much of themselves to their work, and they weren't getting back what they needed in return. their life was completely off balance. Their work had effectively stolen their time and their energy, so much so that it made them ill. They knew that they had allowed this to happen though. And so they decided to make changes in order to bring about some kind of sense of balance that would allow them to work and remain productive and successful and happy and ambitious, but it wouldn't stop them from doing the things that they loved, like outdoor pursuits, going to the beach, spending time with family. They also made time for yoga and meditation. And this was something new that came into their life at the advice of their doctor. And they found that with the movement of yoga and the stillness of meditation, it brought a sense of clarity to their life that they hadn't had before. It cleared that brain fog. They even were able to employ some breathing techniques to help manage those bouts of anxiety that they'd experienced. And they found that over time, not overnight, over time, their quality of life had begun to improve. And thus came with it a greater sense of balance. Does this sound familiar to you? That, my friend, is because that is the story of many, many people in modern Western society. This is not one person's story. This is all of our stories. For too long, we have given too much of ourselves to our work. It's almost become like a badge of honor to say, oh, I'm a workaholic. And that's not right. It's not healthy. We're not giving enough to ourselves, to our hearts, to our souls. And that begins to foster with it a lack mindset. And if we could just remember how abundant the universe is, how unlimited it is in its resources, how it's always there to hold us, how it's always got our back, we would see that by giving more generously at the appropriate times, we would then open ourselves up to receive abundant prosperity in return. So let's take this one step further by understanding that we must first practice compassion and integrity, ahimsa and satya. Therefore, we are better able to align ourselves with an abundant mindset. What we receive is in direct symmetry with what we give out into the world. And so if we're not receiving enough, then we simply need to look inwards and be really honest about our intentions and motivations when we give. I hope you found this episode helpful. I hope you found it informative. Join me on Friday where I'll be sharing some affirmations and self-inquiry questions for that deeper inward reflection. Stay well.